All right. Good evening. The time is now 6:04 p.m., and I hereby call this regular meeting of the Freeport Economic Development Corporation to order. Ken, can you please lead our invocation? And Ms. Melissa, can you do our pledge?
Father, we come to you this evening. We're grateful for all the good things that you do for us in our lives. Thank you for our country, our city. Be with us in our meeting tonight, Lord, that decisions that we talk about, or things that we talk about, and whatever decisions that is best for us. And we just want to thank you again for everything. We love you. Most of all, thank you for loving us. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Sandra. And that moves us on to citizen comments. We have Melanie Oldham and Manning Rollerson. You each have 4 minutes total.
Good evening, Board. My name is Melanie Oldham, 1206 West Broad, and I'm here because I have some concerns which I've talked to Mr. Petty about, your Executive Director, Robert, who says he's spoken several times to the lawyer who I've never heard from. But the issue is, I was at a city council meeting, I'm not going to name names, I was at a city council meeting recently, and an EDC board member sat next to me. And during that meeting, we looked at executive session, and it said that city council was going to consider removing an EDC board member and TERS board member. And none of us like, what is going on here? Who is that? Why? And so the meeting at the end, they went into executive session. They were going to decide whether to discuss it in public or in executive session. And when they came out, the council people decided to table it for then. But I'm not going to name names, but the EDC member on your board that was sitting next to me turned to me and said that this person, she has committed felonies by sharing information that he said in executive session to other people, and he said, we have proof. We have a mass email sent to us, the whole board, from somebody. Now, I thought, for one thing, that's defamation of character. I'm not going to tell you. I think y'all may have heard or know, but that is so wrong. And the next day I brought it to the attention of Mr. Petty and Mr. Robert here. He's well aware of it. And I don't know any of the specifics or whatever, but when a fellow board member, when you come and tell me, just a member of the public, and this person was sitting across the aisle, and I hope to God she or whoever didn't, but that is so wrong. And so supposedly, the lawyer this evening said he had talked to you all in executive session about walking quorums, that if this person actually did send a mass legal email to all of y'all, you got to disregard that information. Second of all, hopefully he'll talk to you about how one board member attacking another is so wrong and trying to defame their character without proof. And why tell me and the member of the public until you can prove to the city council, whoever, in executive session, it really happened? And so I hope, I'd like to get your card, please, because nobody can remember your name. I'm Mr. Lawyer, and I'm not being disrespectful, I just don't know your name. But I have talked to Robert twice. He's very aware of this. I did talk to Josh, and he didn't seem to be aware of it, but I think that, y'all need to do some housekeeping and come together. Y'all are all good board members. Y'all have different talents and issues. You need to come together, not attack each other. And your lawyer needs to advise you strongly. You cannot look at mass emails from anybody, even if they're a lawyer. You cannot look at them. So thank you. Oh, last thing is item number 8. I don't know for sure what this is, but it's got to be EDC owns. The only property I know off of Skinner is called the Sea Breeze land that LULAC, way back when Ed Garza, they sued the city, and that land is only zoned for manufactured homes. It's very valuable where it's located off of Skinner, because it's right near the urban renewal land. And for whatever reason on the CAD, that has gone up from last year 80K to 295K is the value of your EDC property off of Skinner. There's all kinds of, rumors about substation, but anyway, I don't know what the discussion's going to be on it, but just realize that is valuable land that y'all need to consider what you do with it. That's all.
Thank you. And Manning Rollerson?
Wants to wait till the agenda.
Oh, okay. That's fine. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to our consent agenda. Okay. So we're going to approve our meeting minutes for October 8th, and then we'll hear about our financials. So if any board member has any additions or corrections to the minutes, feel free to let us know. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to our financials.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The attached financial report is through October 31st, 2024. Sales tax was received in October 2024 for August of 2024. The EDC received $113,893.33, which is an increase when compared to the month last year. Currently, the EDC has received $68,034 more in sales tax when compared to the same time period last fiscal year. This is the sales tax for fiscal year 2024. As of October 31st, 2024, revenues were under expenditures by $46,772. You won't begin to see sales tax revenue for fiscal year 2025 until December. The fund balance as of October 31st, 2024 for the projects fund is $858,765. The fund balance for the EDC marketing fund as of October 31st, 2024 is $134,318. And the fund balance as of October 31st, 2024 for the TERS fund is $621,148.
And did anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
I'm just going to stay for the tax board.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. All right, so with that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion to approve our consent agenda by Ken, seconded by Mark. Any debate or discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor state aye. Aye. All opposed state nay. Motion passed unanimously. We're going to move on to our discussion and action
Mr. President,
items.
I'm sorry. Before we go on, can I make one introduction?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to introduce Ryan Salinas. We talked about the internship program from Brazosport High School, and he is a member of the practicum of entrepreneurship taught by Mrs. Thede, I think you pronounce her name, who's an advising teacher. His interests and career goals: he wants to start either an electrical business or a real estate business, and he'd also like to get involved in both local politics and serving the community of Freeport in general, and one day would like to become the mayor of Freeport. Currently, his internship duties for the EDC are he's looking at available property sites book and updating that, He's updating business locations and traffic count map that we have, a traffic count map. And we're gonna go over contracts with businesses and how contracts work and stipulations and general provisions and all that kind of stuff. He'll be with the EDC for 4 weeks, and he's already done 2 of the weeks, but he's got this week and next week, and then he'll be leaving us. But I just wanted to make a point to introduce him. I don't know if you want to say anything. Okay.
Well, something that was not mentioned, it's a little ironic. It really is a small town, so Ryan was actually a pal where the high school kids come to the elementary school, so he was a pal in my classroom last year. So I saw Ryan every Wednesday last year, in the classroom, and so it's funny, he's seeing him in a different setting. But yeah, so great to have you here, Ryan.
We're thrilled to have him.
Right. And then we were going to move number 5 to number 1, correct? All right, so we had a schedule adjustment here, so number 5, we're going to go ahead and get that one out of the way, so discuss an update on the UTSA study for the downtown Main Street district.
All right, good evening, folks. My name is Wade Dillon. I'm the Museum Main Street Director for the City of Freeport. I was there, I believe it was the last meeting that y'all had. Yes. Where y'all asked us to approach Ian Kane about the possibility of additional meetings or presentations in lieu with the development of the Downtown Comprehensive Plan and Design Guidelines. He was approached but declined. As per his contract, he was contracted to do 2 community vision sessions. There were various other meetings between various boards and stakeholders over the course of the year. So I wanted to address that. The Downtown Comprehensive Plan and Design Guidelines was released on October 17th. Both documents are available on the city website. They're both filled with initiatives and will serve as a playbook by the city and its various boards and organizations to move forward to ensure the revitalization and preservation of our historic downtown Freeport. Some of the initiatives include splitting the Freeport Historical Commission and Main Street Advisory Board, as the Historical Commission has roles and duties separate from a Main Street program. The Main Street Board is working on pursuing that, as we discussed at our own board workshop meeting this past Thursday. Once the Historical Commission is formed, separate from Main Street, the city of Freeport is eligible to apply to become a certified local government, and that opens up some more doors for the city. My personal thoughts are both 120-page documents are very thorough, and the ball is in our court. Thank you.
Thank you.
And may I just add, thank you, Wade. I would just add that the documents were sent in an email from me, and then also with your board agenda packet, there should have been 2 links. Wade and I have met with Lance, and we're digesting. I mean, it's a lot of information. We're digesting the information and looking, forward to, okay, what parts do we work on first? Mm-hmm. And there is an implementation strategy in the plan, and then also looking at getting getting estimates from engineers and things like that to look at costs. So that's the next plan, but I would encourage everybody to not only read it, but reread it. It's a lot of information in there, but I think it's very well done. I appreciate the efforts from Wade and before that, Anna Silbus in getting this plan together. Also, finally, there was one more link in your packet that has the council meeting, because Dr. Ian Kane did come, and a couple of you were there, but he addressed the council. I would encourage everybody to watch that, presentation that he gave for the city council. I believe Rachel told me that it would, if you click the link, it'll start where he starts to make his presentation, and you can just watch it through, so it's very simple. Just click the link.
Yeah, it's about a 20-minute presentation, but he lays everything out, answers any questions that council may have had for him during that presentation. That presentation, too, is very thorough, so, yeah.
Did anybody have any questions? All right, well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you all. Have a good evening.
All right, we'll go ahead and resume the regular order. So we'll go to number 1, discuss and take possible action on the financials for the tax pool accounts.
We kind of talked about this last month when we were updating the Texas Gulf Bank account, that we would need signatures to get me put on the tax pool account. Currently, it was just Kathy and Robert, and so I can't have Kathy removed until we had someone else added on it. So this would be, the form should be with the packet to sign. I sent it to Rachel anyways, but it would be, okay, it would be to sign to have me added, and then we could get her removed, and it would leave myself and Robert on the account.
Okay.
Basically, we're just replacing Kathy with
Yes,
Right.
that is correct, yes.
And is
But
this something
they,
that I need to sign? or
No.
that- Okay,
Ken signed it, and David McGinty
Okay.
will sign it.
okay, okay.
yes, just a formality of what
Okay.
we already spoke about.
But we need a motion to do that, right?
He wasn't really clear.
Well, you might as well make a motion and got it, it's on the agenda. Correct.
Yeah, we could do it.
So
So-
if somebody could make a motion to replace Kathy on
Oh,
the
okay.
text pool accounts.
With,
uh,
With
With
Ashley
Ashley,
Ferguson?
yes, that'd be greatly appreciated. Ashley Ferguson.
Ashley Ferguson?
Ashley Ferguson,
Okay.
yes.
okay. All right, so would anybody like to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Marshall to replace Ms. Kathy Ezel with Ashley Ferguson on the text pool account. Is there a second?
I second.
And that motion seconded by Ms. Loisa. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state nay. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you all.
Thank you. All right, so let's move on to number 2, discuss and take possible action on the business improvement grant application for Sweet Teas. And Mr. Johnson, did you have any information or?
Yes, we have, come on up, we have Sweet Teas, we have Tammy with us tonight to talk about her grant application. A couple notes, and if you could come up, don't be shy. Couple notes, I talked to Lance, Tammy made a request if she receives this grant. It's going to be for concrete work and for lighting for landscaping. And she requested that while she's doing it, she's able to temporarily move her dumpster to the city hall lot, and I drafted up agreement, and that's been approved by Lance, so that will be taken care of. But I wanted to kind of bring Tammy here tonight before I get into the nuts and bolts of the grant costs, to just talk about her project.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. You got my paperwork?
Oh. Sure.
I didn't get it from you.
Okay, all right, hold on. Here it is. It starts right. Which part do you want to go to? Pictures?
Whatever I wrote down on that paper, that one up there.
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, you took it all. Hello, I'm Tammy Davis from Sweet Tea's Diner, and I'm an icon in our community, particularly when it comes to serving meals and local industries and my contacts are messed up, and our town people, always doing charitable acts throughout the year. The diner is virtual part of our town. As everyone knows, Hurricane Beryl hit our community and small business very hard. We are seeking this grant to replace the lighting provisions such as lighting and smooth surface in downtown area is very dark at night, and the parking lot is unlevel. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to improve the parking lot, you know, with the potholes.
Yes, ma'am.
And then Burl took all my lights out, and I've only got like 3 lights out
Oh,
there.
wow.
So if you can, did you give them copies of the pictures?
Yes, they have copies.
That's
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Copies of the pictures at the nighttime,
Yes, I think that's.
so.
And if I may interject, the budget for it is, the estimate, and Tammy got multiple estimates.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, thank you. Tammy got multiple estimates for the work that was going to be done. So on that, you see some that say not used or something to that effect. But the two that
Robert,
were,
I was gonna let the board know, it's on page 60 are the pictures at night, if anybody wanted to get to those.
okay. The lighting falls under the landscaping category. It was, the estimate was for $5,900. And so that would make the eligible grant award be $2,950. And then property improvements, which is where the bulk of the work is going to be done on the concrete work that she outlined, was for $38,000, and which she could get in the property improvement category, a $10,000 grant if you so award her. And so that would bring the total of the grant to $12,950 for this project.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the board have any questions for Ms. Davis?
Tammy, great job.
Thank you.
I'm definitely in favor of that. I think it's something very needed. I think all of us, I go over there all the time, so I'm in favor of it. Yep.
All right. Anything else? Or would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right, so we have a motion by Ms. Marshall to approve the Sweet Teas grant.
For the numbers that I outlined?
Yes, I was going to say $12,950, correct? Okay. For that amount, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ken. Any debate or discussion? All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
All opposed, state nay. Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
And we'll move on to the grant for Rhombus Incorporated.
Yes, Mr. President, Rashawn couldn't be with us tonight. He's at a Boy Scouts meeting in Houston that he had to attend. But this was the one that we talked about last. It had to be halted on the day of the meeting last month because of a stop work order from code enforcement. And we've
Right.
gotten with Shelby on the code enforcement matter. That's all cleared up, and I believe there's an email in your packet outlining that. Basically, his building, and this is there's 2 buildings, if you recall. One is the new building they're building that's going to be Arlene's. The other one is the convenience store / gas station. And Rashawn just sent me a picture of the sign. I put it in front of everybody. That's the proposed sign that he's got. And he also suffered a lot of damage from Hurricane Beryl. What he'd like is he's doing roof work. He submitted an estimate for $22,732.50, of which he's requesting, the max for that category would be $10,000. And then the sign that you have up on your desk there, that's for the new sign and labor and materials, that would cost $7,000. So he'd be eligible for the $3,500 max in the sign category. That would bring his total granted to $13,500 if you so approve the grant.
Right.
Did he have any insurance on the building at all?
I don't think he did, but I'd have to check with him.
And then also, what page is that? Would you happen to know? Is that email on? It's not. There aren't. It's not. This one isn't. It doesn't have the bookmarks like usual. So
What, the one from?
yeah,
Code?
like the packet. This packet. It doesn't have the how we can go through the like certain pages. You know.
It's on page 71.
Oh, okay.
It appears 70 starts on 70. And for anybody that does not have it, for anybody that does not have it, in it, if I can turn these pages.
Is this the one to John Murray?
Say that again?
Is this the one to John Murray?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and C.R. Holler and John McMurray. And it says, I'm writing in regards to concerns for 231 West 2nd Street. A stop work order notice has been issued for this address. I have attached the copy approved plans for this address above. The front portion of the building has a full set truss system installed when the original plan showed joists and rafters, and it goes on. This is also supposed to be a column beam installed across the front along with extra column. There are currently only 6 4x6 posts supporting the structure that already showed signs of bowing. Please see pics above. There is not adequate support for this structure. We are going to need revised drawings to show the proper support as the original plans have been deviated from. I have already emailed the engineer who has reached out to me in regards to this address and this information. And if you recall, that's why we had to shut it down last meeting. But
Okay.
since then,
It looks like they cleared up whatever the issue was.
they did. Also the issue, it was given for the whole property, but the issue was for the new building that's being built, and the grant award that we're granting tonight, if you so grant, is for the convenience store / gas station, which is a separate building on the property.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying, because that was a little. The two seemed like they were getting
How much is it?
merged together.
13,000
Right.
what?
13,500 was the total.
So the 10,000 is for the roof of the convenience store?
Yes, sir. And then
3,500 is for the signage?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of confusing to me too. I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
is this for, okay, thank you.
Did anybody else have any other questions about this? I know somebody was asking about insurance. Did we get that cleared up?
To my knowledge, she did not have insurance.
Okay.
It's just I've heard a lot of people where it's just cost prohibitive, unfortunately.
Okay. Oh, I see. All right. Well, would anybody like to make a motion or?
I make a motion to approve up to the 13,500. Do we have to put it separate, or the 10,000 for the roof and 3,500 for the signage? So a combination of 13,500.
Right.
All right. So we have a motion on the floor to approve $13,500 for this grant. Is there a second? Or I'll second it. So motion by Ms. Melissa, seconded by me. Any debate or discussion?
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So in speaking on insurance, is this something that we require for the businesses to have if we give them grant money for the work that they do to their facilities? Do we require them to have
We currently have no requirement for insurance.
I'm sorry?
We currently have no requirement for insurance, no.
Maybe a little clarification there. You know that the EDC, we are the payer of last resort, correct?
Yes.
And so I think some of the questions I have, I would like to know, did they go somewhere else, FEMA, whatever?
He did go approach FEMA, and apparently the paperwork is not on track to match our timeline at all, or his timeline, but he's trying to get that, but it's a far slower process.
You know, I went over there to that place. I mean, it seems like it's operational.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't climb up on the roof or anything, but I assume he's had somebody go try to take a look at that. And I was wondering, had he gone out to the college? You know, they've got some help there too.
Some from the SBDC.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's been advised to go out to the college. I know that Shelby did review, I mean, that's how they got the permit, did review the damage.
Okay. But I think maybe a little remorse here, kind of back up a little bit, and let's see if he can go get some of that FEMA money if that's available. I know that's a difficult task in itself, and also maybe go through the college for their programs. Just, that's my thought.
We can have him do that, definitely, and produce the paperwork. I don't know if you, I mean, I know his date on this, I believe, is November 25th that he'd like to begin. We could do it and say you've got to do it first, or we could do it contingent in a performance agreement.
Okay.
Are you saying we could, by do it, you mean approve the grant and then have it contingent upon him completing what Mark was discussing?
Yes,
is that correct?
that
Yeah,
would be-
I wouldn't have any trouble with that. I mean, if I want to
Okay.
move
Yeah,
forward.
you could definitely do that, make the grant contingent upon that in the performance agreement.
Okay. I would like to see that if that's possible.
Right. So
What was the
we're,
contingent? I'm sorry, I was
so-
talking to,
Being that we would be the payer of last resort,
oh, yes.
I would like to see that he has gone out to FEMA, and it's a dead end. That he's gone out to the college, and that's a dead end. But he's tried to get other avenues, which I haven't seen any of that. And that's why I'm kind of leaning, holding back a little bit. I mean, definitely, the guy probably needs the $13,500, and it would definitely help his business. And I mean, I'm totally in favor of that. I just want to see if he's tried other avenues.
no, I'm
So
definitely, I'm
are
not
we going to
opposed to that at
require
all.
that from all of them now to make sure that they put that in the packets, that they've reached out to FEMA and the college?
Not
Because
a
if we do
bad-
that with this one, then we need
not
to
a
do that
bad
with all of
idea.
them.
Not a bad idea, in my estimation.
Which, I mean, I'm okay with that, but we need to be consistent and do that with all of them then,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
then it's not fair.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we need to add that in somewhere then.
We
I guess that's a directive.
told him about it, and he didn't produce any paperwork, but told me that he had approached FEMA, and that the paperwork, the application paperwork is with them, and I guess it was electronic or something like that, but he didn't produce any paperwork, no.
Okay.
And that was, if you recall, that wasn't something we put in a motion, but it was a sentiment and a statement of
Right.
direction from the board that we would do that. Ken was the one, if I remember correctly, that used the line, the place
That
of
was-
last
that's right.
resort.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. It was. But no, yeah, I guess we can have a different conversation about making that part of the process. But for the current motion that we have with the second, are we amending that? Is that, okay. So Sandra needs to amend her motion, or is he?
Yes. The maker of the motion needs to amend the motion, that needs to be seconded.
Okay. You have to amend your motion
To have the
to make the grant payment contingent upon him
supplying
seeking,
that.
supplying proof that he sought out other avenues of
Right.
help, assistance.
Okay, so I won't be making a change to add that it's only approved for the 13,500 that he could supply, that he's reached out to either FEMA or the college for assistance.
Small Business
and
Development
Small
Center.
business development for further assistance, and we have been their last resort.
All right. So then we need another second, correct, or no?
Yeah, you just need to second the amendment.
Okay, then I second the amendment. All right, so we have our amended motion on the floor with a second. Any other debate or discussion from the board? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, state aye. Aye. All opposed, state nay. Motion passed unanimously. All right, we'll move on to, item number 4,
Yes, sir, Mr.
the
President.
Four Corners Grant.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. The Four Corners Grant, there's a problem in the motion. It was basically stated that we would pay the first one that was last year, we would pay and reimburse the owner. And then the second one for this year, the direction was to pay the bill itself. There was actually some discussion about this, but the way that it came out was, we'll pay the bill. Well, he's already paid all the bills, and in your packet you see the bills that are paid, and we've been working closely with Lance. As a matter of fact, I called them today because they were supposed to open today, and the delay is because of the contractors. The work on his end, him being Mr. Adnan Ali, is done. It's just that apparently Arlen's is moving a little more slowly than anticipated, or missed the deadline of yesterday. And
Yeah.
we've got a follow-up call with them tomorrow morning to find out, so we can communicate to the community what the delay is. But getting back to what I was talking about, there are legitimate expenses that he incurred. He's got the receipts, but we need an amendment to the contract, because the motion was that for the second installment, we pay the bill
To the vendor.
directly to the vendor.
Yeah, okay. I see.
So it's just basically an amendment. If the board so chooses, it would just be an amendment to an existing contract. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then, I'll go ahead and make that motion then to amend the contract, to make it payable to Mr. Ali, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor by myself, seconded by Mark. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, state aye. Aye. All opposed, state nay. Motion passed unanimously. And that takes us to, since we already did number 5 first, we'll move on to number 6. Discuss and take possible action on the Gensler project.
Yes, Mr. President, tonight Jonathan Mitchell is with us. We remember we were a little delayed because of the storm,
Right.
and then also we wanted to get the
There's
two
something-
projects on the same
Yeah.
timeline. So Jonathan is here tonight to present the findings from after the community meetings and
Right,
the things
right.
that we were supposed to do in August. He's here to present to the board
Okay.
tonight on the Gensler project.
Oh, great,
And then
great.
also he'll outline the way forward for the board.
Good, perfect.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
Once again,
And please speak in the microphone.
got a packet here for y'all.
Be sure you speak in the mic so Ms. Marshall can hear you. Here. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, good to see everybody again. So, basically, this meeting, like Mr. Robert Johnson mentioned, this is a follow-up and kind of a conclusive point to this process for the boardwalk. And, you know, we're really looking in whole, this is at the point where it's time for you all to decide on what steps you all would like to pursue moving forward, right? So I'm gonna take y'all through, this is a combination of that process and those next steps and the revised design per the community session that we had back in, this past spring.
Right.
So, okay. That's just starting off, that's our statement that we've had up there that we're kind of still abiding by. In short, I'm not going to read, I've read it multiple times here, but in short, you know, our whole motto and goal here is, you know, creating Freeport as a place to be, building it as a destination, and that's what we're still striving to do with all the decisions and moves we make and everything. Next slide. All right. Still kind of the same thing. The demolition plan, the strategy for the demolition is really one of, you know, most of the things there are probably, you know, in the shape to be demolished, but everything obviously would be assessed, right, before being torn down. The main focus with the demolition plan is one of the site. So we're talking ground, dirt, elevation, right, and getting that prepared and ready for the next phase. And I'm highlighting that a little more tonight because you'll see when we talk about a priority of phasing and steps, you'll see why that comes into play. All right, next slide. Okay, so if you look at I'm gonna take this over because I don't have a screen here, but that's all right. So we still have the same kind of premise and goal. If you look at, I think it's page 3, you should still be on the same page as the presentation. So I think at the session, there was comments about how we kind of left the boardwalk out, right? So what we did was we went with an ellipse, right? We still want to create that, have that moment, have that space, something unique for Freeport. But we brought it in a little closer towards the bank, okay? And you still have different nodes of enjoyment. We took and then after the community session and some subsequent meetings, also the pool, that was one of contention. It was kind of 50-50, if I remember correctly, from the community session, and then we had some other follows. But, so we swapped that out. You'll see over on the right section, we're suggesting a splash pad, splash park kind of thing, right? So that's using filtered water. So any concerns about anything with the river water is gone. Also on the other side, and there's other renderings at the end we'll get to, we're suggesting paddle boats, right? A lot of the parks in Houston do the same thing, and that's a means of generating capital for the city. So we're looking at a lot of things that are fun, entertaining, inexpensive, and can help generate dollars and identity for the city. Other things that we are highlighting more exclusively here, we've included I guess more exclusively in this plan, ideas for the open market, right? That was a big piece. While a full-out grocery store at this property, at this site, is probably not in the best interest, right? But you could have some type of something in that capacity in the means of an open market, which would, again, bring in another type of amenity, something different to the city. And then we still have this, kind of the same stuff that we were talking about, the fishing, the opportunity for jet skis, kayaks, the performance venue. We augmented that a little bit, but it's still there. That's going to be key for all your functions with the city, the fishing fiesta, the MLK parade, the 4th of July parade, the fill in the blank parade, New Year's, Christmas, whatever, city functions, events, things for the citizens or those even outside of Freeport to rent the space and use. Okay. The hill's still there, the playground, amenities for commercial and retail. Okay, so a few changes, but like I said, the changes that we did, we went back to the drawing board just a little bit and augmented. If I can, my opinion, I feel like, each time we've come back with a stronger approach. And so, being on the design side, we always stay open to better, like, the next phase. So, we hope you all are pleased with that. Next slide. So, all right, this is where we shift a little bit and get into ideas about phasing, the growth of it. So Freeport says, we are not in the position, or we don't just want to build the entire thing. This can be done in phases. We talked about this before, but this is basically graded the priorities. So in school you got A and you got F. Some of us made Fs, not me. All right, but so priority A is the main boardwalk function. Okay, this has the fishing piers. This would have the one of the amenity locations, whether it be like a restaurant, a coffee shop, sandwich shop, something of that sort. Okay, this has the venue and the paddle boats and the jet ski or canoe, kayak, whatever. So what you're looking at is a lot of stuff there that can help you generate capital in the story, right? That's the name of the game, okay? A lot of stuff that can help you generate capital. The next priority would be the block there on the bottom right, where we kind of grade it as like B+, right? With the playground, we want to have a space for kids. Kids help draw people with money. If you got kids, you got money. Because if you're taking care of them right, you do. Because kids cost. Okay. And then so we want to build that up. We also have a development opportunity in that space that can be used for any type of retail commercial, small retail commercial that could be used to help generate and support the boardwalk space. Next would be the other section of the boardwalk that has the docks and the splash pad. So now you're completing the ellipse, if you will, right? And then last priority was the hill. Why? Well, that's more of a logistics because we could use a term what we call cut and fill, where we're taking the soil and all of the the dirt and things from the previous construction, and you're using it to build up something else. A lot of hills and things like that are for public use are done that way. Now you can use, and then when you have the finished soil, you come in with some select fill on top, and then grow whatever grass or flora you would like. Okay, and then priority C, the other end with the another small retail commercial opportunity, additional parking, and the subsequent mini boardwalk pieces. Those are optional. Those help just kind of give some build up and just kind of help finish off the overall design and another additional locations within the design. Let's go next slide. So this slide here is focusing on the hill, primarily because of some other subsequent conversation we had, and of course the community session. Okay, so the hill was one of the fan favorites when we had the community session, but there was also some key things that were said when we had the discussion after we had our breakout groups. Okay, and so what we did an exercise. We looked at, okay, what ways the opportunity for growth for the property with the hill, starting from top left and working over to the right and then down. Stay as is. It's the hill. It has the monument of sort, whatever, on the top. Or you could just go to the right, additional parking with a smaller hill, right? Or you get into something with additional parking at the bottom left, additional parking, commercial business, and then you do a playground extension of the, or a playground / park extension, right? That's there just south of the boardwalk. Then, or the bottom right, you could have it, excuse me, you could have a portion of the hill, or we would call like 3/4 of it, right? And you could subdivide in mixed-use plots, right? So obviously in Houston, I don't know if any of y'all have been up to Houston lately, but a lot of the communities that were traditionally fill in the blank, whatever kind of way, this has been a big strategy that's been used, subdividing things into mixed-use plots and in all types of typology, whether it's residential, mixed-use residential, business, commercial, what have you. So that gives you a lot of options, to say the least. Next slide. So here we're just getting you in the views, different renderings of everything.
Wow.
You're getting shots you got some aerial shots here. Just looking at the boardwalk, as you go through it, the splash pad would be comprised of like a concrete retaining wall, and you would, have all types of splash features and fixtures in there. And then you could have a leisure area for people to sit out, kind of on the river, but not in the river, and are still engaging in aquatic activity to some degree, right? And then you have the paddle boats there. They're shown, you have an area designated for them, so if somebody goes awry, they're not getting swept up in the channel and having some situation, okay? Then, just views of our destination points along the boardwalk there. Go to the next slide. These are just some kind of straight-on shots, kind of just showing more of the same, just different angles. The bottom right is kind of highlighting, once again, I don't know if some of you all remember we had what we call, if you remember a while back, I spoke about the effects of like social media on society now, and it's relevant. If you're not participating in that in some business, you're missing out sometimes. And so things like these quote unquote Instagrammable moments, having something to substantiate that helps you put yourself in a position to gain capital, right? So things like marquees, things where people want to just come to take a picture. They'll come, take a picture, and then they'll buy a lot of merchandise. They'll buy from the local businesses and restaurants that you have around here in town. They'll buy from, things in the city. They'll help support, And so if you look on that bottom right, we got the branding that we were kind of starting to work on for this boardwalk, having some giant letters there. We have the anchor or whatever you would like to have on the hill. We have other things, throughout that are kind of helping generate that spirit of the place, right? All right, next slide. These are just other views. You can see, bottom left, that's the aerial from the top of the hill looking down. You see how we've combined the venue with the boardwalk, so it can be used as more of a multi-function space. Mm-hmm. It's not standalone like we had it before. And then you kind of see the anchor, we put that there, but you all have a choice of what you would like. And then in the top right and bottom right, there's the splash pad head-on If you look carefully, and if you can even zoom in on the bottom right, you can see that wall there. That's another branding moment, right? You can, so you have all types of things. You can have murals or whatever on that. You may not realize it, but just today, when I drive in, and I see it all the time, when I drive into downtown Houston, I got people almost hit somebody. They run in the street trying to take a picture of the murals. Houston actually has, you may not know this, a mural program in the city where they hire different artists and designers to come in, and they have designated broadsides of buildings that are part of this program, okay? And they circulate it may be anywhere from like 6 months to a year. I think it's more so like a year. And you get your artwork and an exposure for the year, and you also help generate like some type of culture for the city, and of course, the business, the dollar, capital, right? People come in and they spend money. Next slide.
Jonathan, can I interrupt you? Is that partnership between Houston and the buildings, is that a public-private partnership with the government and private building owners, or are those public buildings that they're doing it to?
No, that's it's not with the building owners. That's a city program. Yeah, that's they had, what is it? Not the parks. It's another jurisdiction within the city that they have to manage that, and yeah.
But the buildings that they're painting the murals are also owned by the city?
So no, the owners, they participate in the program because they know that, so we're all not fans of the same type of art, but they know that if I have something that's triggering enough to get that type of attention, it'll still be good for my business. And so they offer up their space for that, and everybody wins. So, all right. So this last sheet, and I was gonna print. This thing is really like 30 inches. Almost 4 feet. So, and it really goes all the way to all the way down second to 332, but we're looking at the run from that street all the way down to the boardwalk property, past it to the downtown improvements that UTSA is a part of, and the possibility of the marina expansion too, right? So what we're calling phase 1 is the boardwalk, phase 2 will be the downtown and that subsequent property just north there, and then phase 3 will be the marina. So, when we first talked about this project, it was always about this connectivity. This wasn't just some siloed effort just in this piece of property that the EDC owns on the banks of the river, right? This was about how can this actually bleed through the community and become a part of the community and actually merge in with the community, okay? The downtown is actually pretty interesting. For, you have a lot of historic buildings. A lot of them are coming up on the time period to be identified as for like historic preservation, or they get the historic registry, right? And so with that, you would have, a part in here where you would be doing some type of upgrades or preparation for those buildings. In addition to that, and then you would start doing like civic preparations, meaning, sidewalk, water, services, things for civility, right? And that's when, so let me back up. If you look on here, we did it like this on purpose so you can see the kind of like the order of chaos. So there's notes on there about with numbers and their sequencing, 1 through 5 of what you could start. This is getting into like the next phases, the next steps, right? So 1, we've specifically have been working just on the boardwalk, but I think the first step would be to address the historic buildings, if you are pursuing the downtown piece that UTSA is working on, get those underway and get those, you know, whatever needs to be done to have those ready to be visited, frequent, whatever their next life is going to be as historic buildings. I would do that first. Next, I would pursue civic improvements. So all those things that I was just talking about for civility, and that would be at all 3 sites, okay? So don't open up a can in one location and then have to open it up again later. Let's do it all at once together, you know? So civic improvements for the boardwalk, for instance, would mean getting the ground at the right level. Let's getting our roadways, you know, fixed up and all that type of infrastructure, the water and services, electrical services, teledatacom, getting all that stuff in place for what's to come. And then, you know, whatever that means at the marina site, I'll pursue that as well. Third is a landscaping phase, right? So at the boardwalk, that's like site and landscaping, grass, gravel, dirt, soil, right? Getting that stuff outlined and laid out. For the downtown, that's the revised park section in the center, those 2 medians that, you know, I know they've seen the comprehensive plan from YouTube. So they had a whole, you know, they did a whole comprehensive plan, but within that, they had the piece about the downtown, right? That landscaping for that would be third. Then fourth would be boardwalk construction. So this is where it kind of gets interesting. So we know within that, there's a separate independent phasing of the boardwalk, whatever you all choose, how you choose to pursue that. But then, you know, if we're thinking about these other overall grand phases, phase 2 and 3 on here, is the boardwalk going to continue? Does it connect? Should we run a line, you know, and start to develop that as well, right? So we end up with full continuity once we're at the final phase of everything, right? That's some possibilities. And that's why in orange there, if you can see it, it's kind of light on this one now, but it says boardwalk extension with, you know, question marks, you know, because that's not really a part of this, but that would probably be a good idea, you know. And then fifth would be any type of development and program construction components throughout each site. So at the boardwalk, the things on the boardwalk and the things in the adjacent blocks to the boardwalk that are supporting that space, anything in downtown that's adjacent to those historic buildings, let's get those up to snuff and ready to go. And then again at the marina, whatever would need to happen there, so that can be operational. So, and that concludes what you know, our presentation for this project for today. It's been fun working on the project, meeting you all, working with you all. We're looking forward to it. We love this project. We have if some of y'all if y'all remember Peter, the guy, he had like the tuft the hair, kind of looks like a rooster, but now Peter, he's actually about to retire, and one of his last, and like, we're Gensler, we're the world's largest firm. We got projects all over. I got projects I'm working on I can't even talk about, but these kind of projects, like, it's kind of like the lifeblood of designers, like, because these are meaningful, you know. A lot of projects we work on, they're not necessarily meaningful. We just have clients that are billionaires, right? But so what? Like, these are the cool projects. These are the ones we want to see built. These are the ones we want to get behind, you know. And Peter, his one last thing, he wanted to make sure that we got started on some type of boots in the ground with this project before he, you know, retires. So he's really happy to see us at this point. Y'all been sticking with us, and we've been going through the process. And so we're just excited and looking forward to what's next. So, thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody on the board have any questions? Melanie, you had your 4 minutes, so you had like a few seconds left.
Be a final public workshop on this, because I have questions
Say
about how
question?
far the boardwalk sticks out in that whole dress.
Do we have any questions?
Will there be?
Yes, Ms. Marshall, I was asking for questions.
She wants to know if there's gonna be another workshop.
Yeah, it's not that far. We actually brought it. It's in much further, closer than it was before.
You and Robert checked with GLO, and they said,
Oh, yeah, no, that's not. It was never the issue before because we're staying out the way. Yeah, no.
can't believe we brought that up last time.
Yeah, but we actually met with them before we even had it.
personally never been involved in any of the meetings, so I didn't bring it up.
No, it's okay. I'm
good.
just saying that we actually met, just full disclosure.
Yeah.
We actually met with the permitting and we talked with folks about it, about how far we can go and, yeah, but so when we do those community sessions, and it's not just for this project, we actually had one for New Orleans a while back, and it's New Orleans, it got rowdy, right? And I've done them for schools. People love their kids. They feel like you're not doing something, it gets right. We've been, got the stones thrown at us, just to say the least. So I don't mind the question. We welcome it because we want you to feel comfortable and understood about what's being designed. So,
Josh said we might have another workshop, I'm not
I
gonna.
wasn't sure.
I don't, so when we had the session, we went through every single one of the comments, every sticker that was posted, everything. We actually developed a spreadsheet and graded, because, let's be honest, some people say things are a little silly, but there were serious things on there to be considered. And that's what we took into consideration, and that's what we pursued. And so, it's not far at all in the river from the actual levels of the average heights of the river, because it's going to ebb and flow up and down. So, yeah, no, you have no concerns with that at all. So,
I have a few questions.
Uh-huh.
So I heard you say early on the venue. Where in what section is the venue at?
Robert, go to I think page 4 in the presentation. Go flick 2, 3. Keep going to the rendering. I'm sorry. Yeah, one more till you see we're up over. Stop right there. See that? That's over.
This one.
You see on the
that's a
presentation?
venue.
Yeah, and this is from this view from the hill looking back at it.
So is it like the River Place where you could rent that? So would that
You
be-
could, but it's not enclosed. It's a boardwalk.
It's a
venue.
boardwalk?
Yeah. It would be covered. You would have access for data, sound, electrical, all that stuff. If y'all want to run some lights up in there, you could have a concert. If y'all been to Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion in Houston, where they have the hill, they have it open,
Right.
they have seats. That thing. So look, that one. That's free seating, right? But they have seats there that people pay tickets for. So some of those events,
Yeah.
and and it's an open air venue. Houston's just as humid as the rest of South Texas, but people love it. They go out there. They spend a lot of time out there.
And I know that there's the different, which I like the way you had on here, like the different options with the hill, and then if you don't have the hill, the additional parking, half a hill.
Yeah.
So, like, say, for example, the half a hill with additional parking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you have it? I know you may not have that info, but do you know how many parking spaces would be for each additional? Like, let's say we did the hill, and it's only the hill. How many parking spaces would we have versus if we did half a hill with additional parking? I just was curious.
So-
Is it make that much of a difference?
So I'll just say this: the additional parking there, so that one on the top right, where's the additional parking on half
Right.
hill,
Uh-huh.
that's almost doubling the parking.
Okay.
Okay, and so there's some studies we could do. That's on grade, right? You could do a platform, you know, in Houston, you know what they do. Houston's the parking garage, you know. But that's just about doubling your parking.
Okay.
Because otherwise, the whole concept is like, yeah, we have some of these parking, the initial ones that we have, the one to the right and then the smaller one to the left. And then the rest is, you know, by foot or by car. We park on the street, we walk in, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. This is a community thing. This is not like a, you know, if this was a strong, you know, a strong urban setting, we would be approaching this a little bit differently because you need that parking infrastructure. Here, not so much. So, and it, you know, it works because I think Kemah, they barely, you know, they ended up using one, but at first it wasn't, that thing just blew up so much and they had to have a infrastructure put in. But
And how does that splash, that
oh, the splash
work?
pad?
How does that work?
It's just a concrete slab. You run your plumbing in with your filtered water. You have a fixture on it that's shooting up, you know, water, or you have some toys, you know, different other fixtures. Sometimes they have like arcs or whatever, you know, and you have them bolted in and they splash water.
Really?
It's
Just
really
a
simple.
gigantic, and then it's got like walls around it where people
Yeah,
don't.
we put some little
Barriers?
Yeah, if you go next slide, and
Oh, I
then
see.
next
There.
one.
A little bit. You can
All right,
see
stop
it.
right there.
It's
Let me
kinda
see. You got
raised
a
here.
mouse?
It's got like a rail. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, zoom into.
Oh, I see a little bit of it now.
Yeah, you can see the rail on the side here.
So
Okay.
there's little like pony walls we put in there.
Oh,
and then
okay.
In the back, you know. Yeah, zoom in
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
With the
Oh, okay.
And this is for the presentation, but I have the higher res.
Oh, and I didn't
pictures.
see the label on the back of it
Yeah,
there.
so there you go.
Oh,
Zoom in
okay.
closer. So see, there's some branding we put in there on the wall. You got some lawn chairs out there.
Oh, so it's really big.
This is
Okay.
something where you can,
That
you
puts it
know,
more to scale
you can
with
charge
size.
people, you know, oh, you know, $3 an
Sign it.
hour to
It's a
rent the
sign.
chair or whatever, or you know.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Awesome. I like that you brought that up. We can see more of the
Yeah, I like the
visual
detail.
part of people standing on there and the little lawn chairs. It's almost like when you go to a hotel and you can be in those lawn chairs
Yeah.
right there at the edge of the pool.
Yeah, or if anybody's been to the Margaritaville, like up in Lake Conroe,
Oh,
me and
no.
my family, we just went last spring. It was nice.
It was nice.
It's real nice. Yeah, kids love it.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so was any of this that you just presented to us tonight, was any of this done in collaboration with, UTSA and or the Main Street Board?
Yes. So we had a couple meetings with UTSA people, and we had some good meetings with them. And what we were really focusing on was there was a proposed venue of sorts on that one. And so we really came down, the discussion was really about programming. How does Freeport program the space at the boardwalk and the venue space at the at downtown? You know, two different spaces, two different functions, really. But it comes down to program, city programming planning. How do y'all program that space? So, you know, we've designed this with the impetus that this is going to be for larger events, concerts, small town bands. They coming up through the ranks trying to make it. Come down to Freeport River, get your band. Hey, we got wristbands. We block off the streets. We got a little crowd here. Y'all could have a semi-big event here. That would be awesome for Freeport. Or we don't want to do it like that. We want it to be more for a city-owned, city-ran building or amenity. It's really up to you all. You have options, but for both spaces, that was one of the main conversations that we had talking with them. Otherwise, funny enough, before we started working more so on the boardwalk, we had talked about that run from the boardwalk down, what is that, Cherry Street over to the Main Street, the downtown. We were looking at that too. That was going to be another part of it. So when we saw the project that they were doing, we were, excited. We're like, "No, this is great. This is exactly." So we're on the same side of the table. We've been chatting and stuff somewhat frequently. So, but yeah, we have been kind of working together in concert with them on this.
All right.
Will there be a follow-up for the public?
If you all would like, I'm pretty sure they would like one. Yeah, I mean, we love hearing what the public has to say. Yeah, we're proud of our design and stuff, but we're not afraid to put our money where our mouth is. So we love to see what the people have to say.
So I guess, Ms. Marshall, the follow-up would be for us to decide. Yeah.
And maybe just so we've done this before. I was gonna say is, at this point where we are, we did it. It was a Fort Bend project, but we did it like it was more. So the last time was more of a workshop. This one it can be. The citizens can still have comments and stuff, but at this point we kind of did this one like a reception, right? Mm-hmm. So it was more of a mingling event and not so workshoppy, not so academic, right? And more relaxed, but allowing people to come and engage in. A lot of times for those events, people who didn't attend the first time will come out for something like that. And that's always good to get the diversity of the community at these events, right? So we don't just have the same voices.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had an opportunity to thank you guys for coming out to do the presentation that you did with the public. I think it went very well. They were very responsive, and your team was very professional. So thank you so much for coming out and doing that for us.
No, for sure. Thank you. No, we had fun. It's nice meeting everybody. So.
Any other questions from the board?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed, Jonathan, in the drawing that you supplied today, and you said it was just very tenuous. Mm-hmm. Here it is. The boardwalk extension beyond the bridge. That bridge, as you know, is scheduled to come down. Would there be any? How would that work as far as coordinating? Would that be, if we pursued that, would that be something that would have to be done after the bridge was completed?
Yeah, so you could, you can phase around that. They bring it down. And that's one of those things where, the boardwalk extension down and across that point, it's a question mark because they're tearing it down. What is the future holding for that spot, though? We don't want to put something there that's going to need to be torn out if they come back and put another larger bridge or some other type of infrastructure. So for that area specifically, that would be a location where we would probably mark that. That would be kind of what we call it, I guess like a delayed future phasing, mm-hmm. Right? One of those contingency type things. We come back and look at it because we can phase around it, and then you can actually program it into the project more cohesively than come with something kind of premeditated that won't really work. It's all about collaboration and community, like these basic principles that our parents taught us. Like, you gotta communicate and collaborate with folks on stuff. We can't go into it with our eyes closed and act like we don't know what's going on. Like, we see it, we know it's there. So yeah.
One other question. I know that a lot of this, as you indicated, is going to be catalytic infrastructure and dealing with that. That's at the beginning, that's at the top, that's obvious.
Yep.
Having said that, it's never been clear in my mind the tank is there to be used and as a marketing tool somewhat, but the three buildings, you've got the seafood, the brick building, and the white one, and then the house on stilts, as we call it. Would those all be demolished, or what?
They would be
what's
assessed. We assess them. If they can be used, they can be programmed into the space easily. It's not, that was just on site, first kind of assumption, but you assess them. Everything would be assessed. The tank would be assessed. Because regardless of the results, you want to assess the tank to know what you need to do next. Because let's say, and I had this happen on the project, and it was really the school district's fault, but we had a site, and they didn't want to do any underground imaging, and they start doing construction, and no pun intended, but there was a tank underground, a huge tank with like liquid in it. So we had to stop construction, have hazmat team and environmentalists come out, test the fluid, do all this stuff. And structural had to design a bridge to special grade beams underground to bridge the gap because, you have a void there. If you just build it, it's going to sink. So anyway, that's why we just assess things. I'm telling you now, you don't have to, but you best just preliminarily assessing everything, seeing the condition of what things are. That is the best way to pursue existing buildings, existing structure, existing services, existing civil infrastructure. Assess it thoroughly before doing anything. So that tank, it may not have anything in it. Great. We'll clean it up, shine it up, put branded on it. Okay. But in case there is something wrong, we know how to deal with it.
All right. Well, thank you. If there are no more questions.
Couple of questions.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So I understand that where we're at here, this is more of a conceptual thing than anything. And yes, I definitely appreciate the fact that public venue house, I bet Gordo would love to have that puppy. And so, once we get to where we want to be, if we can decide with the community groups and that kind of thing, and nail down, okay, we're gonna keep the tank, okay, but just conceptually, and then we've got to go out and assess the tank. Has it got some stuff in it? Have we got to do environmental stuff, a hazard deal, all of that kind of stuff? Get a hold of TDCQ, whatever.
Yep.
And then, once we decide on the structure that you've got that I see that goes out in the water and all that kind of thing, then we've got to do an assessment on what we can do to do the pilings and yada, yada, and all that sort of thing. So I'm hoping that, this next go-around, what I see from is we need to lock down what's going to be taking place, what pots and pans have we got in there. And then we can go do an assessment.
Yep.
And then from the assessment, what we've got to do, maybe we can get some numbers on what the dollar numbers are going to be.
Exactly. And that's why that phasing, we have all the renderings and all this stuff, but I think, with where we are now, your best friend in this document is going to be the phasing sheet.
This last page, right? Yeah.
Not the big one, the independent, just the isolated phasing for the boardwalk.
Oh, I see.
With these priority grades on it, right? Now, those are the priorities that we saw. If you all see something else of a greater priority, by all means, we don't want to do that. We want to do priority, we want to do the hill first. Okay, fine, But, I think that's absolutely, you're gonna start here, right? You're gonna start here with this phasing. What are we gonna do first? What is most palatable for us right now? And then we're gonna pursue that, right? Because once you get what, then you can know how and why. So, okay. And then once you get, that determined, then you can go look at that big phase. Okay, how does this fit into the grand scheme of things? Let me make sure I'm not overstepping my boundaries. Let me make sure I'm not putting the cart before my horse in any of these other areas, right? So, because you don't want to develop a part of a phase of one section too far along, and you needed to do take care of some things with another piece on the grand scheme. So it's a balancing act after you make the decision of what you're going to do. And like I said, or I may have not said, we're still here. Our phase now, our role rather now, is we're shifting into more of a consultation role until you get more of what you all decide on. Then we'll come back in as a, designer and get in the construction documents going for construction, but that's later on. But yeah, we're here for consultation. Robert, we talk all the time, and so y'all run y'all's questions, comments through him, so.
One other question, Jonathan. Is there any way you guys could put together some kind of dimensional kind of guy so we can get more of a, I don't know how far this guy goes out in the water.
Oh, there's a scale on there.
Which one is that?
Let me see, I'll show you.
Yeah.
So, see this. Let me back up to this one.
Is that the scale or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I
See
didn't
right
know.
here?
I didn't notice that. Okay, I got you.
So,
I'm with
you
you.
here?
Yeah, I got it.
Yep. So,
I didn't notice it.
and the water, in this one, we did it on the average. The water's like starting here.
Right.
And so it's just that much, which is about 100 feet.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Got it.
Not that much.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
No. Hey, you gotta ask questions.
She asked.
Gotta ask questions.
All right. Did we have any more questions?
And I will, so while, we made these adjustments, I don't know if anybody here has practiced any type of practice in the design field, but if you have, you know that there's no project, a project is never done. Never. We have drawings, we say, oh, it's 100%. It got stamps on it and everything. Nope. It's always something we look, especially when we put our eyes back, oh, we could have did this, we could have did this, oh, this, But I said that to say, if by any means you all just as a group, collectively, as a group, as a city, whatever, as the reps that come to if there's a next session, oh, we just want to adjust this a little bit. We want to just say something. Like we tell our big clients, you better say it now before something gets built, and then everybody's griping and biting their tongue every time they drive past it, right? So that's not what we want. We want y'all to smile and be proud of this. This is a great thing. This is a happy occasion. This is not something to be disgruntled about. So, speak now, right? Yeah, this is collaborative. We are here collaborating with you all.
All right. Well, thank you for that.
Yep.
And thank you for the presentation.
Thank
Right.
you. And thank you all. Thank you, Robert. He's been great working with, and all you all, and got to know Melanie and some of the other people in the community. So it's been good. Keep the passion. You need more people to care about where they live. Yeah.
All right. And so, Robert, I guess we'll kind of figure out the next steps going forward. Right. Okay. And that takes us to, let's see, number 7. We got discuss and take possible action on an extension of the waiver for work done due to barrels damages.
Yes, Mr. President, we had waived the clause that's found in the grant that indicates that they must wait before starting their
Right.
work. And we had waived it for a period of 3 months. And I have had a couple of potential applicants ask to extend that. Again, their timing with their insurance is not matching, and even FEMA is not matching our timeline, and they've just asked if the board would consider extending that. I thought another 3 months, but I also thought maybe 6 months. I mean, again, just whatever the pleasure of the board is, we're in kind of uncharted water with this, but the motion was to do it for 3 months. And again, the word has kind of got out, much like what with the city and their waiving of permits. The word got out and people heard that, but they didn't hear the second part, which is it's 3 months.
Okay.
And I was just wondering if the board would consider extending that.
Oh, okay. So, would anybody like to make a motion to extend the waiver for for having your work done before you get a grant?
Sure, I'll make that
All
motion.
right, so we got a motion by Ken. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mark. Any
Don't you
further
have to
discussion?
put a time frame?
Oh, yeah, for how long?
Yeah. How long, Robert?
Say 3 months.
I
Till March, maybe?
yeah, I was thinking more in the range of the 6 month. March, I'd be comfortable with.
Okay.
At
Until
the end of March, possibly?
The end of March.
April?
March 31st, April 1st?
Sure.
All right, April 1st.
April
So
1st.
said. Any other debate or discussion?
What is the motion? For how long?
Until April 1st. And is that April 1st the last day to be eligible, or April 1st is the day that you are not eligible, the first day you are not?
Let's make it to be eligible.
Okay, so
Yeah.
April 1st.
2025, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Till April 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
2025.
Any other debate or discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and vote. Excuse me. All those in favor, state aye. Aye. All opposed, state nay. Motion passed unanimously. And item 8, we're moving to executive session, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then that takes us to our executive session. It's now 7:37 PM, and I hereby recess the regular session of the Freeport Economic Development Corporation meeting and do hereby convene into executive session in compliance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.087, economic and community development matters,